The Legend of Max. Long ago, in a quiet village in Kenya, where the wind whispered through tall grass and the sun rose gently over the hills, a child was born. The village was peaceful. Cows grazed in the open fields. Women sang as they prepared the morning meals. Children laughed as they ran barefoot across the red earth. And at the heart of that village stood the royal home of King Jabari. On a calm and silent night, under a sky full of bright stars, Queen Tatu gave birth to a son. He was called Max. From the moment he entered the world, something felt different. He did not cry loudly like other babies. Instead, he opened his eyes slowly, quietly, as if he were studying the world he had just entered. The women in the room exchanged glances. "This child," one whispered. "There is something special about him." Word spread quickly through the village. The king has a son, the only son, and he is unlike any child we have seen. Max was extraordinarily handsome. Even as a baby, his face carried a strange calmness. His presence was peaceful yet powerful. But what no one knew, not even his father, was that deep within him lived supernatural strength. King Jabari was proud. Max was his only son, the future of his kingdom, the carrier of his name. Whenever the king held him in his arms, hope filled his heart. Yet within the palace walls, there was another story. King Jabari had 2 wives. His first wife was admired by the people. They praised her beauty and admired her appearance. But his heart belonged to Tatu. Queen Tatu was kind, gentle, humble. She had dark skin that shone richly under the sun, and one arm that was shorter than the other. Because of this, many in the village mocked her. Some whispered behind her back. Others laughed quietly when she passed. But the king saw what they could not see. He saw her patience, her wisdom, her pure and gentle heart. He loved her. He loved her not for how she looked, but for who she was. And Tatu loved her son with a love that could not be shaken. Years passed. Max grew taller. His face became even more striking. His eyes were deep and observant. He watched everything carefully. But something troubled the kingdom. At 8 years old, Max could neither walk nor speak. Other boys his age ran across the fields. They climbed trees, they wrestled, they shouted with excitement. But Max remained seated, silent, still, watching. The whispers returned, louder this time. Why does the prince not walk? Why does he not speak? Can he truly rule one day? Queen Tatu heard the whispers, but she did not allow bitterness to enter her heart. She continued to sit beside her son each day. She spoke to him softly. She fed him. She cared for him with endless patience. But King Jabari grew worried. He was no longer young. His hair had begun to turn gray. His strength was not what it once had been. Late at night, he would sit alone beneath the great tree in the palace courtyard, staring into the darkness. Max was his only son. The future of the kingdom rested on him. Fear slowly crept into the king's heart. Finally, unable to carry the burden alone, King Jabari called for the wise men of the land. These were men of deep wisdom, elders whose eyes had seen many seasons, men who spoke only when truth demanded it. They gathered in the palace. For days, they did not speak. They prayed, they fasted, they sat in silence beneath the open sky. The entire kingdom waited. On the final day, as the sun stood high above them, the wise men rose and entered the royal hall. The air was heavy with expectation. King Jabari sat on his throne, his face lined with worry. Queen Tatu stood beside him, her hand resting gently on Max's shoulder. The eldest of the wise men stepped forward. His voice was calm, steady, certain. "Your Majesty, do not fear." The hall fell completely silent. "A strong tree takes many years to grow." The words echoed softly in the king's heart. What seems delayed is not denied. Silence followed. No long explanation. No dramatic prophecy. Just wisdom. The king closed his eyes. A strong tree takes many years to grow. He looked at his son. Max sat quietly, as always. His expression was calm, his eyes deep and thoughtful. And for the first time in many months, the king felt hope. Perhaps greatness does not rush. Perhaps strength does not shout. Perhaps destiny unfolds slowly, beneath the surface, unseen. King Jabari rose from his throne. He chose faith over fear. That evening, as the sun dipped below the hills and painted the sky with gold and red, the king sat beside his son. Softly, he repeated the words, "A strong tree takes many years to grow." Max did not speak. He did not stand. But his eye lifted slightly toward the fading light. And in that quiet moment, hope remained alive. For sometimes, the greatest legends begin in silence, and the roots of the strongest tree grow deepest before anyone sees it rise.